awesome. All right, man, we are here. It is the day before Thanksgiving, man. How's it going? I'm so excited to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm home in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm ready for a little bit of time off. But I noticed that even when we have time off, Saving Abel fans still want info, and they still want to know what's going on, and I'm happy to comply because we're just glad we still got fans.
And the Saving Abel fans, man, some of the craziest, most loyal fans in all of not just rock, but all of music. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Whether it be lineup changes, whatever, man, the fans still come out. The fans just still loving the music. The new album, Bloodstained Revolution, just came out, and man, the album just kicks ass, man. It's just awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I really don't think that we missed a beat, which is impressive because we will have done 300 shows in a year with the new lineup come December 27th while recording a new record. So we're working hard to keep the fans happy and to keep ourselves happy and to keep families eating, and there it is.
Awesome, man. The new album, it's you can tell just by listening to it, man. It is definitely Saving Abel, but there's some interesting stuff on it too. I mean, there's a little bit of an electronic feel on I think it's 15 minutes, man, and it's from front to. There's no filler on this album. It's just from front to back, beginning to end, just in your face, kick-ass rock and roll, man. Talk to me about writing this one.
Well, what's amazing about that is that you just said no filler. It's the first album. I can kind of like do the chronological album releases that we've had in the past, and it's like our first record put us on the map, and it's probably because of like Addicted.
Yeah, Addicted's 18 Days
and Drowning. Yeah, and Addicted was actually the last song that we wrote on the first record. So our sound evolved. I mean, it was kind of a little poppy when we started it. And then myself and Jason started kind of trying to make the guitars a little heavier, make it more southern. And when Addicted hit, it was just kind of like this weird symphony of stringed instruments. It was like, not to nerd out on you, but it's really tough to do acoustic renditions of some of the songs because you feel like something's missing. It's like you really need two guitars and a bass in order to fulfill all the parts. And that became a template for what Saving Abel did. And the entire second record was kind of that way. The third record, we went to a new label, and I think they were trying to push us more to that mainstream hot AC, but can also straddle the fence, active rock. And that's one way to do it. It felt kind of like we were trying to slam the circle into the square.
Oh, okay.
And we didn't really like the way that went down, and we didn't like being on that label that we were on. So we just told them, like, look, we know you all tried. We tried too. We want out of our contract. And they said, that's fine, but if you leave, we own that record forever.
Oh, wow.
So we just said, you know what? No hard feelings. Let us go. You guys keep that record, and we're going to start fresh. And then we had about a year of just sort of figuring out what we were going to do, and it ended in just sort of like telling management we're going to do this a different way. And then around that time is when Jared was like, guys, I need a break. And he wanted to take a break, and he asked for too much time. We were like, we can't do that. And then tears were shed, and it was like he's going to go do his thing, and we're going to carry on. We didn't know what was going to happen. So when we started touring with Scotty Austin and Stephen Pulley at the helm, we weren't even thinking about a record. We were just thinking about letting our fans know that we're still here.
Right.
And we hit pavement in small bars. And that was one of the smartest decisions we ever made, and we made it on our own. We got new management, and we started our own record label called Tennessee Whiskey Records. And we figured eventually we're going to need an album. And I'm sorry, it's kind of a long-winded answer, but this is the abridged version, believe it or not. So after 3 records and 2 different record labels, we finally decided to do everything on our own on the 4th record. So we brought in a producer who worked underneath the producer for the first 3 records. And a dear friend of mine named Justin Reimer from 12 Stones. He used to be the guitar player at 12 Stones.
Yeah.
And he lives in Memphis. And I've known Justin for 20 years. And he was like, man, I would love to do the record. Like, that's the Saving Abel name that can help me establish myself and put me on the map as a producer. And when we got in there, we didn't have hardly any time to actually write. So what you have on that record there are no B-sides. So when you tell me there's no filler, that makes me think we did an incredible job, because that's everything we wrote.
Oh, wow.
Those are the 10 songs that we wrote, top to bottom, and we had to talk about it. Do we need to write more? And we just started laughing. We're drinking whiskey going, and what are we going to do, ask the record label? Like, we're all right here. We're the sole owners of Tennessee Whiskey Records, and we think it's pretty damn good, and it's a reflection of what we've been through in light of everything that's happened. And we're just like, our fans are going to get this. It still sounds like Saving Abel because of Jason and I, with driving guitars. There's a different vocalist, but he's got a lot of Southern in him, just like Jarrett did.
Yeah.
Eric's still laying down bass like he always has, and then the drums are just kind of full on the floor rock. The electronica stuff, we were just kind of like, we're all fans of, like, we always have been fans of, like, literally Korn and things like that have always been construed as too heavy for Saving Abel, and we're like, well, screw that. Like, we can do whatever we want. We're not trying to have other people tell us how the music is going to be, and we just took a couple chances, and we loved the way it came out. So we told Justin, don't overproduce it, just print it, and let's make some copies up, and that's where we are right now.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that I had no idea that there were no B-sides. I mean, that's just the fact that it came out as well as it did, because like I said, you can tell listening to it, it is Saving Abel. I know a lot of fans, when there's a lineup change with a singer especially, fans are like, oh, it's not going to be Saving Abel. It's the same guys making the music. It's just the vocals are a little different. And honestly, listening to the record, when you listen to it from beginning to end, about halfway through, honestly, you forget that there was even a lineup change, because this is a Saving Abel album through and through. I
appreciate that, man. Because the template of all good rock bands, it literally starts with the foundation of the house, which is like, the drums, the bass, and the guitars.
Exactly.
And the vocals, obviously the hooks, and then vocals have got to be there. But we made sure to stay true to the sound that we've created, which was what I was talking about. The bass and the two guitars, with like a 4-on-the-floor drum beat behind it, maybe a couple subtle nuances. But Jason and I have a particular way of playing guitar together. It doesn't really make any sense. We've done a couple things with Guitar Player where they were asking us, they charted stuff out, and they're like, this literally doesn't make sense. And I was like, I know. And that's awesome, because it makes us one of those bands that's really hard to cover if you want to get it right.
Right. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I've always liked that about us.
Yeah, and I mean, and the previous album, Bringing Down the Giant, I mean, it was a great album, but you're right, you did kind of go down a different road a little bit with maybe songs like Michael Jackson's Jacket and stuff like that. And I feel like Bloodstained Revolution is a really good return to form for Saving Abel. I think that this is the album, in a lot of ways, that you guys maybe needed to make at this point in time, with owning your own label, then going out on your own DIY, and then with Scotty coming on, I feel like it's the album. It's almost like a statement album in a lot of ways.
Dude, you know what? You really get it. Thank you for noticing that.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to it again last night, and I'm like, this is Saving Abel. This is what the fans want. This is what the fans want to hear. This is. I mean, and the title says it all, Bloodstained Revolution. The band's been through a lot of stuff with the last label, the lineup change, and all that. It is a bloodstained revolution for Saving Abel.
It's a clean slate, and we, it's funny, the last song on the record, I think it's becoming one of my favorites, the Side Road song, the piano ballad.
That was a curveball for me. So.
Well, we were like, should it build up? Should it get perfect? Like, should it have the big, like, orchestra at the end and all the big, bells and whistles and like a Use Your Illusion guitar solo and, and we were like, why? Like, why overproduce it? Like, the vocals, it's about Scotty's relationship with his old lady and having to go through all of this. He has an autistic son, and he, out of nowhere, was asked to be the singer of Saving Abel, and he just hit the road for literally a year, he was home maybe 40 days. So, you know, obviously that'll put strain on anything. The other three of us that have been here since the beginning know how difficult it is to have a life and family. When you do this, it's a choice that we make. And that song, it's like, his voice was so beat up when we came home, and that was the last song we had to track, and we were all just sitting there like, there's something so honest about how broken his voice is in this song. It makes it like real,
it's,
you know?
It's
moving. Not over.
It's almost haunting in some ways, listening to that.
Yeah.
You know?
It's great. I love it.
One thing I love about Saving Abel is you guys are one of the heaviest touring bands that there are. You know, it doesn't matter what the band is. With music nowadays, you almost have to tour more to make a living with, especially in rock. You know, I mean, other genres, I mean, artists are still, for some reason, rock fans don't like to buy music for some reason. And so now it seems like bands have to tour more, sell more merch, play more shows, you know, have more shows without a break. You know, so you see so many tours where a tour is having 4 or 5 consecutive days and then 1 or 2 days off and then 3 or 4 days straight. I mean,
we always do 6 in a row.
Yeah.
Before we take a day off.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's funny because I was talking to somebody about, somebody was asking us to, I mean, we'd love to go on a tour with, you know, a country band. But I live in Memphis and I know Nashville. You know, when you go out on a tour on a country tour, you literally tour from Thursday to Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, we go from Easter to New Year's.
Man.
So it's just sort of a fundamental difference.
Yeah.
And it's not taking a stab at country. I love country. The thing is, country fans really do buy records still. So they don't have to tour as relentlessly. I mean, I guess they could, but it's just, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
You know, so for us, we just had to hit the ground running and be a very, very active touring rock band just to make ends meet. And again, it's the best decision we ever made.
Yeah, I mean, and Saving Abel show was fun. One of my writers was at the show at Pierre's about a week and a half ago, and the photo she got captured the show perfectly. It's fun. I remember seeing you guys in, I think it was 2009 in Iowa at Laserfest, and just a Saving Abel environment is just fun. You bring the party with you. It's a fun show. It's wild. It's crazy, and whether there's 8,000 fans or whether there's 300 fans, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just fun, you know. And we
had to talk about that. We were saying, like, you know, when you're doing 6 in a row, and then, you know, I mean, I think leading up to the CD release party, we did 12 in a row.
Jeez.
And it's just like we were sitting there before, flying out to Reno for the CD release party. And Scotty, I just looked at him, and they looked dead. Steven looked dead, and I was like, guys, like, this is... I mean, back at the beginning, there were times where we would tour like that, and then just fly everywhere, because the band kind of hit out of nowhere, and, like, everybody wanted their hands on us.
Yeah.
So we were just excited, and then, you know, you go through the grind, and then it's just like, you know, then you've got new talent, and I was reminded of the old days. We're all a little older now, and I'm looking over at everybody, and we just look beat up. And Scotty was like, how is it that we do this? And I was like, I don't know, man. He goes, he was like, you know what it is? As soon as you hit the stage, he's like, I watch all of you guys morph into a different person. Like, you walk slow up to the stage, you're gearing up, and then as soon as you walk out and the lights hit, you're sprinting and freaking out and, like, throwing rock horns. And that's what we got to do. That's our job, man. I mean, yeah, we love what we do, but that's the only way we can do it. And we need people to know that we're having fun. They can see when you're not having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd rather not lie to our fans, you know? Like, I know that sometimes bands have to do that. And they're at the end of Saving Abel's tenure, to be honest with you, with Jared. People were telling me it didn't look like we were having fun anymore. And I think it's just because we've been through so much and we didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I think Jared leaving might have been a blessing instead of a detriment, because we might have just run ourselves into the ground. Having fresh blood has proven to be an amazing difference for us. You know, my jokes are funny again. Just because there's 2 new cats in the band that are like, you know, And Jason may roll his eyes because he's heard me tell the same joke for 7 years, you know, but it just makes it more appealing to all of us when something's funny or it's like, you know, the energy is just there again. And I'm stoked about it.
Yeah, and honestly, it as far as like lineup changes, it seems like I don't know if there's something in the water, but it seems like everybody's got a lot. There's so many bands have had lineup changes, especially with singers. What Flyleaf, Saliva, Saving Abel, everybody. It seems like
everybody
has had a new singer come in, and I have yet to see one where it was a bad lineup change. It seems like all of these new frontmen that are coming on are good, you know. And Scotty is a great voice for. It's not a dramatic vocal change, you know. You can still tell it's Saving Abel.
Yeah, well, there's some, you know, like there's some where it's like the music is so stripped down, like 18 Days, for example. Like when Scotty came over here, the first rehearsal was with myself and him. It was just me and like a really quiet electric guitar. He was like, man, I think I got Addicted down. But that 18 Days, he's like, I just don't sing like Jared. And I was like, well, then don't.
Right.
You know, and he was like, well, what do you want me to do? And I was like, man, you're not going to survive out here if you try to be Jared. You're going to have to be you, and you're going to have to own it.
Up on it in a heartbeat. You know?
Yeah, and we made a choice not to deliberately go after another Jared because, again, I'd like to close that chapter and have Jared go down in the books as the badass singer that co-founded the band with us. You know, and now is the next chapter, and it's like, you need to end. I got to tell you, honestly, I was watching these trends of people getting rid of singers and singers quitting, and I never thought it would happen to us. And then when it happened, it was like, we can either fold under the pressure, or we can just kind of persevere in the face of adversity, which is what a lot of our songs are about. So if we couldn't stand up to the test, it's almost like we've been lying to our fans the whole time. And that's not us.
Right.
You know, so we didn't even really look that far. Scotty lived close to home. He knew the songs. He's a Southern boy, you know, who likes to party and who would fit right in.
Nice.
And we just went with it, and you know, there was resistance at first, like there would be anywhere, you know, and then gradually, it's funny, the haters, you know, they'd be blasting us on Facebook, and it was like, just don't respond. And then within 4 months, they're like, hey guys, I'm coming out again. I brought you a bottle of Jack. I'm like, okay. Like, if we can win them over, then, you know.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. It's like you said, you know, they get it. If they know that we're having fun making music and we're trying to reinvent ourselves while still having the same sort of Southern hard rock sound, then everybody wants us to win this fight, you know? And I think we're winning.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say. I mean, you are. The album is so. It's so good. It's got that Saving Abel edge. I mean, the ballads are beautiful, just like you would expect. You know, just like 18 Days was, and all of those songs. You know, you've got the gritty stuff. You know, you got the hard rock, you got the Southern rock, you got the ballads. I mean, it's just beautifully well done. And I think any Saving Abel fan who really loves the band is going to get it. You know. And so it couldn't have come out better, and it's just awesome to hear that there was, because usually you write like 50, 60 songs for an album, you know, and this time that's what you wrote, and that's just good.
We wrote 10, and then it was time to put the order together.
Man. So the rest, so I can't even say the rest of 2014. 2015, what can we look for from Saving Abel? Maybe some festivals next year?
Yeah, our agents already said you guys have reestablished yourself. You know, like there were some promoters who were initially scared because we were just another one of those bands. They all said the same thing. They're like, those guys are awesome. They're so much fun. They do every meet and greet. They stay till every fan, you know, is signed, and you know, they hang afterwards. You know, which means that liquor sales and alcohol sales are up. Like vendors are happy. But we got to see something from them first. And a lot of the promoters came back with, you can't just tour. We need a new record. Like, we need something. We got to have you at radio. So we found a way to comply. And I think that 2015, you know, 2014 was the year of change. I think 2015 is going to be hopefully the year of domination.
Yes.
Because we're going to hit the road, and we're just going to tour 250 to 300 shows again.